this is basically the worst PD accomplishment in history, considering the fact that this movie runs against no competition besides Otto Knights, which was always not gonna do too well because Robert De Niro isn't really too popular anymore. He's mostly popular amongst older people, and that's a declining demographic basically, or film nerds who still like him. But a lot of Hollywood has basically lost their cuts, and you can definitely see with the box office in the past couple of years, the only movies that did really well are movies that are part of a franchise, and that's it. Nothing really else. Zegua, as the number one movie in the world, wrote alongside a portfolio dressed as a titular Disney princess while waving from a trailer on the film set. And no, this movie... Okay, here's the only reason why Snow White is the number one movie in the world. It's because it runs against no other movies, no other huge movies runs inside it. So of course, a movie of almost no competition is gonna be the number one movie in the world, okay? It's very hard for Disney to get this achievement when there's other movies against them. I know Moana was number one movie in the world, but Mufasa wasn't the number one movie in the world, was technically the number one movie in the world when it came out, but Shark Free didn't come out in international box office. I still find it strange that they waited till Christmas to release in all other territories. And in the US, they released it a week early. Like, why did they do that? Why would they just want this huge global opening for the movie? As well. So technically, Mufasa won from the very beginning, considering the fact that it launched at earlier screens, and also Mufasa hoarded the premium screens where Sonic was not allowed to have any. But Disney movies usually launch with no competition. Inside Out 2 had no movies launching against it. That's how it was able to achieve this giant opening. Same thing with Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine actually has launched against Twisters, but that's it. And Inside Out 2 launched against a few non-franchise movies and, A Quiet Place, which are for two different audiences. The closest competition to it is Despicable Me 4, which had an entirely different weekend to itself. But bragging about how Snow White, one of the biggest failures of all time, is number one is not really a huge accomplishment. We're gonna just acknowledge we didn't see that advertisement. But Mickey 17 and Captain America but both movies, actually all three movies, are in huge trouble. Captain America, I think, is the least in trouble, as it made the most money. Mickey 17 is a huge failure as well. I know people but for the same people who wanted non-franchise movies, and mid-budget movies back, well, guess what? No one went to go see Mickey 17. I don't think anyone has heard of Mickey 17 outside of film geeks, film buffs, and unfortunately, those people do not really make up the vast majority of the movie-going audience. Unfortunately, like of any other industry, the vast majority of the film-watching audience are made up of normies. They're not made up of film buffs who, yes, there are a large group of people who are film buffs who watch basically a lot of new movies, but even they, sometimes they wait till streaming. Sometimes, streaming, services do take a chunk out of movies' box offices nowadays. And when it comes to Snow White, no one was excited for Snow White. Most of the people who were excited for Snow White, were mostly people who've overcome out. And I know that there was this one, we'll go over this later about Snow White. But again, I think 90 to 80% of people because again, red counties and blue counties both have Republicans and Democrats. I still believe that 80 to 90% of people who went to go see this movie were liberal and liberal-leaning because those are the only people who support DEI and woke ideologies that were pushed in this movie. Rachel Zegler has never been in a successful movie besides the Hunger Games movie, and that movie was still a dramatic decrease over the other Hunger Games movies, and that movie only did well because Risk and the Marvels were huge failures, okay, as well. But the final numbers have also came in, and the movie only opened to $42 million, which is absolutely abysmal and absolutely terrible for Rachel Zegler and Snow White. an absolute failure. Yeah, in terms of box office, and this is probably the biggest failure since the Marvels came out in 2023. And this movie, like if the Marvels, will likely lose way more money than John Carter did, which is touted as the biggest box office failure of all time, which also is a Disney movie as well. Yeah, so 3 Disney movies had huge failures as well. The top 3 biggest failures of all time, box office wise, are Disney. And some may say that Dial of Destiny was an even bigger flop than John Carter, so that would be 4 movies. Okay, which is not a good look for the Walt Disney Company at all, as these movies were failures. And that's what this video here. Goodbye.